Welcome to Launch Window Research, where we cover everything you need to know about investing in the space industry. My name is Nathan Evans, and in this video we're going to give you an overview of Richard Branson's other space company, Virgin Orbit, which trades under the ticker symbol VORB. We'll give you a history of the company, their future plans, an overview of their financials, and lastly, whether or not we think they make a good investment. Let's go. Virgin Orbit was founded in 2017 as a spin-off of Virgin Galactic. While Virgin Galactic sends tourists on a brief suborbital trajectory with their VSS spacecraft, Virgin Orbit launches small satellites from a wing of a 747 and gets them all the way into orbit. Virgin Orbit's rocket, the Launcher 1, is considered a small launch vehicle as it only gets up to 500 kilograms to orbit. For reference, SpaceX's Falcon 9 can get over 15,000 kilograms to orbit while still landing on a drone ship in the middle of the ocean. But Launcher 1's small size isn't necessarily a bad thing. In recent years, technology has gotten better, allowing for satellites to get smaller and smaller. This allows smaller launch vehicles to be an option for launching payloads to space. Each launch with Virgin Orbit costs the customer $12 million, which is roughly on par with the rest of the small launch industry. Rocket Lab's Electron costs $7.5 million but only gets 300 kilograms to orbit. And Firefly's Alpha rocket will cost $15 million but will get a full 1,000 kilograms into space. So there's nothing especially good or bad about Virgin Orbit's price point. It's roughly on par with the rest of the small launch industry right now. What sets Virgin Orbit apart are its unique capabilities as an air-launched vehicle. There are several unique benefits to Virgin Orbit launching their rocket from the wing of their 747 named Cosmic Girl. Because it launches from a higher altitude, Virgin Orbit's rocket does not have to struggle through the denser lower parts of the atmosphere as competitors do. It is true that the aircraft imparts some initial velocity to the rocket, but this amount of velocity is negligible, so it's better to think of the aircraft as a floating launch pad rather than the first stage of the rocket itself. Additionally, since Launcher 1 takes off from altitude, launches are significantly less likely to be postponed due to weather or range safety violations. But perhaps the greatest benefit of an air launch platform is that you can launch from virtually anywhere, as any airport effectively becomes a launch pad. This can be especially enticing to international programs that may not necessarily have their own launch vehicle but still want to get payloads into space. Virgin Orbit has now completed 4 successful missions, launching satellites for NASA, the DoD, the US Space Force, Spire Global, and others. So far, operations have taken place out of Mojave Air and Spaceport, but operations will expand into Spaceport Cornwall in the UK later this year. In addition to this, Virgin Orbit plans to operate launch sites all over the globe. Among future missions will be a self-funded mission to send a small satellite to orbit Mars. While this is not nearly as monumental as a Mars landing, it could still potentially be the first commercially funded interplanetary mission, beating even SpaceX. Virgin Orbit has several future upgrades slated for their launch vehicle. These include the addition of side-mounted solid rocket boosters and an ion-powered third stage, both of which could increase the capacity of Launcher 1. They are also considering making the first stage of Launcher 1 reusable with parachutes, similar to what Rocket Lab has recently been able to demonstrate. Also, a future launch system, Launcher 2, might feature wings and launch from the back of the aircraft, which could potentially triple the launch capacity. Now, let's take a look at their financial health. Virgin Orbit recently went public at a valuation of $3.2 billion, but has recently slipped down to a valuation of $1.3 billion. Taking a look at their fundamentals on Finbox, we can see that their current ratio is 3.3. This number represents current assets over current liabilities and basically represents how much runway a company has. A healthy company has a ratio of 1 to 2, but recently, space companies have had higher ratios due to recent market uncertainty. That said, Virgin Orbit's ratio is lower than competitors, which I take as a positive sign that they're staying active even in tough market conditions. But I will say that their revenue and levered free cash flow have both started to trend downward recently, and will want to see that trend reverse quickly, or it could lead to a very slippery slope. Now, finally, what do we think about Virgin Orbit as an investment? Well, their team is very strong and their accomplishments are surely impressive. However, the current state of the launch market as a whole makes us very hesitant to invest in the company. Virgin Orbit has a lot of competition, and I mean a lot. Rocket Lab, Astra, Relativity Space, Firefly Aerospace, ABL Space Systems, Skyrora, and literally dozens of others. Not to mention that larger rockets such as Falcon 9 can also launch small satellites, hundreds at a time, which further restricts market demand. In other words, there is simply not enough demand for all of these companies to continue to exist. And while there are benefits to an air-launched system, we are not sure whether those benefits are significant enough to save Virgin Orbit from significant competition. And even if Virgin Orbit does manage to persevere, they will have to do so by maintaining extremely low profit margins, which rules out the potential for exponential growth. We also have reason to believe that satellite payloads will get bigger once again, and if that happens, Virgin Orbit will not be able to compete. There is simply a hard limit on how big you can make your rocket if you're launching it from the wing of an airplane. If you're interested in why we think satellites will get bigger, you can watch this video right here. So overall, Virgin Orbit is a very impressive company, but from an investment perspective, the risk is very high and the reward is very low. So if you're looking to make an investment in the space industry and simply forget about it for the next 10 years, Virgin Orbit probably is not the company for you. But if you're somebody who actively tracks the launch market and can shift your investment focus on a dime, maybe it's worth taking a position. But what do you think about Virgin Orbit? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.